I actually was there for the quarterfinal. So U.S. France in Paris doesn't get much better than that probably. So that started the trip, and amazing atmosphere there, and then got to see both semifinals and then the final. So just an incredible experience. I've been to World Cups before, but this is probably the first time I've gone just as a fan.
Yeah. So what's the difference?
It's the difference between vacation and work. When you're there analyzing the game and taking notes, you just don't get to enjoy the atmosphere and enjoy the experience. And this time it was just take it all in, just be part of the 25,000 Americans that were over there cheering for their country and cheering for players that I knew. And so I just really got to enjoy the overall experience.
But as a coach, I'm sure there was some part of you that was just trying to be a sponge and soak something up, right?
Oh, absolutely. The game has improved so much. The European teams are playing with so much more technical and tactical awareness. And so, as a coach, you're just soaking that in. You're seeing how much women's soccer has improved, and that raises the bar, and then that raises the bar here. And so the bar just keeps getting higher and higher for women's soccer across the world, and certainly I think across this country, and by default here at the University of Illinois.
Yeah. What was the most impressive part of this team?
I think their esprit de corps, their willingness to be who they were, to embrace the pressure, but enjoy the process. I thought that was really unique. That you could tell just the cohesiveness that they had, whether they were playing or not, and everybody contributed in some way at some point in time, and you just had this passion about what they're doing. Each person got to be who they were, but they were on this collective mission together, and that was the part that was really visible and impressive every time you saw them on the media.
Yeah. Is there one thing that you're going to bring back to your squad or your coaching that you took away from the trip?
Well, I think you look at the technical advances of the game and the ability of women to strike a ball over extreme distances and be able to handle the ball that's coming from extreme distances and those sorts of things. So I think there's some technical standards that you can look and go, hey, this is, it's like when someone breaks a 4-minute mile, you're like, okay, that's, you see the capabilities. But I think the thing that will really, you want to look at that esprit de corps, look at those 23 women who came together, whether they played a minute or not, and went on a mission for not just, our season's 3 months long. They were probably on this mission for the last 4 years to try to repeat, and everybody played a role at different times. And I think that's a great example for a college team where you have players who have had a lot of experience and you have freshmen coming in, and everybody's got a different role, but be able to embrace that and to embrace the success of the team as the thing that matters most, but also the ability for every person to be who they were. I thought that was a really unique part of this team, and they talk about it a lot, and I think that's, again, you have a whole bunch of different personalities, and to allow them to be who they are, but to have that team first mentality, I thought that was a great example.
And of course, Jill got her start here. How much does that help the university? Give the university a little boost?
Well, I think it's just a great connection, and it's something that people can relate to, and to see both Jill and Molly Downton, who's their GM and does all their logistics, as a volunteer coach here, and then having worked with several of those athletes. The connections in the soccer world are phenomenal, and I think to have Jill have been here and to go on, and this was her start in a high level of soccer, and then just to see the levels that she's ascended to and what she's been able to do, I think it's a great credit to her, but also a great credit to this university that this is where her career in coaching at that level sort of started.
Yeah, for sure. This team was special not just on the field but off as well. Just what exactly do they mean to soccer, to women's sports, to everything?
To women in general, I think, looking at some of that's one of the things interesting about coming back after having been there is some of the media and that off the field stuff you don't experience watching French TV. I don't understand much of it, so to come back and see the message that has reverberated through this country about the empowerment of women, and to be in that stands when the stands started the equal pay chant. It wasn't it wasn't the players, but obviously that message was, and there were two dads sitting right behind us who kind of started it. It was two men who had young daughters sitting there that sort of started that chant, and I think it's a message that's going to transcend sports. And again, it's them being able to be who they were. It's Megan Rapinoe being who she is, and Alex Morgan being who she is, and Rose Lavelle being the goofy, person that she is. But they've all been able to do that and say, women can be who they are and still be powerful women, and deserve to be compensated for the things that they do and the level at which they can do them. And I think that message has really resonated around the world. And I think that's, it's going to make a difference here in this country. But you look at some of the other countries who, had they invested, what the U.S. invested, and those women given an opportunity, the World Cup's going to get even more competitive.
Yeah. Anything else about the experience of the World Cup?
I think France as a country, sometimes, people talk about the French not being friendly, and I want to say the experience was amazing. The French people, the French culture, the French food, was all tremendous, and they did an amazing job of creating an environment in the stadiums. The U.S.-France game, there were U.S. and French flags distributed throughout the stadium, so there was just this sea of blue. So a real kudos to the French people to creating an environment that was just really special for women's soccer.